goodness, welcome to another video of the Daily Dose of NCLEX. Listen, today I've got a treat for you. We're not going to talk medical nursing information, but we are going to talk nursing leadership and of course nursing roles when it comes to chain of command. So I'm going to give you a question on the other side of the board, and then we're going to break everything down in terms of leadership styles and then nurse roles when it comes to like nursing supervisor, nurse manager, and the charge nurse. And then we've got, what else we've got? And then I think that's it, all right? But listen, before we proceed, if you don't know me, my name is Mo, on the internet known as Alpha Slice. I've helped thousands of students pass their NCLEX on the very next attempt, and I want to give you my ebook for free. This is The Real NCLEX World versus NCLEX Textbooks. And you know, when my students go to the test center, after they get out of the test center, they text me the topics that they got on the real NCLEX. So what did we do? We took screenshots of those messages and we put them in one book, and I want to give you this ebook for free. All you have to do is find the link in the description box, click on it, and download the ebook. Love your face, and let's go ahead and proceed with the question. All right. So the nurse manager is giving orders in terms of patient room allocation, reviewing plan of care, and assigning tasks to LPN. What leadership style is she practicing? All right, listen. If you're one of my students, if you've seen my other, daily videos or daily dose of NCLEX videos, you know that we read the question 3 times. So before you jump and read the options, what are we going to do? We're gonna read the question 3 times. The first time, as you saw, we are reading the question general reading, all right? The second time, we're gonna look for keywords. And the third time, we're gonna rephrase the question in our own words so that we understand what the examiner is asking, right? Now, you might say, hey Mo, but on the NCLEX, I've got time. I can't read the question 3 times and then break down the options, and it's a lot of work. Listen, if you have not watched my How the NCLEX is Graded video, of course you've got to go watch it, because then you will understand how the NCLEX is graded, and you will know the time is not your enemy. Only wrong answers is your enemy, or are you an enemy. So when you're doing the NCLEX and you've got the timer at the top right hand corner, what you need to do on your test is take it away, because you've got the option to remove it because you don't want to see the time, because time is not your enemy, all right? Now I'm going to read the question another time, and I'm going to highlight keywords. The nurse manager is giving orders in terms of patient room allocation. So nurse manager, it's very important because that's the role, right? The patient room allocation. So what is she doing? She's giving orders, right? She's giving orders in terms of patient room allocation, reviewing plan of care, and assigning tasks to LPN, right? And then they're asking about leadership style. So here, I just want you to pay attention. You might think that there's a lot of keywords, but those 3 job descriptions, I can group them into one, which is a job description, right? A job description. So now, if I just want to think about it, a nurse manager, is her job description to assign patients to room, which is room allocation, or review plan of care, or assign tasks to LPNs? Is that the nurse manager role? Of course not. That's not her role. Whose role is it? You guessed it, it's the charge nurse role. So the charge nurse on the unit is the person who does room allocation for the patients who are coming from the emergency department or the admission office, and then they are assigning tasks for or reviewing plan of cares of the other nurses, right? The other RNs, because RNs are the ones who put the plan of care. LPNs can review and reinforce the plan of care. But when we talk about delegation questions on the NCLEX, that's a huge topic, which I might discuss on a different video. But of course, I also have another ebook. I mean, if you click on the link below, you can download this ebook, but then you'll have other options for other ebooks, which you're gonna love. One of the ebooks is Delegation to LPNs, RNs, and PNs, all right? But then, so the plan of care, it's not the RN's description, it's the charge nurse, and the charge nurse is the one who assigns tasks to LPN on the unit, all right? So now, if I know that that's the job of the charge nurse, but the nurse manager is taking control over the charge nurse's job, right? What type of leadership is that, right? Now, I already rephrased the question in my own words, but I'm gonna say it again. I've got a charge nurse on the unit who's giving orders to whoever is on the unit, right, to the staff, about room allocation, about plan of care, reviewing plan of care, and assigning tasks to the LPN. What is the leadership style? Huh? All right. All right. Listen, let's read the options. Number 1, autocratic leadership. Number 2, democratic leadership. Number 3, laissez-faire leadership. And number 4, transformational leadership. I mean, if you want to guess it on top of your head, you immediately say, dude, this is military, however you pronounce that. But you're going to say, dude, that's not your role. Why are you micromanaging the staff? Right? Because the nurse manager role is different. I'm going to go into it after we discuss the options. But that's not your role. So she's taking over. She's micromanaging the staff. What type of leadership is that? Of course, autocratic leadership. Now, I'm going to go ahead and discuss those. Immediately, I would say autocratic leadership because it is micromanaging the staff. It is an authoritarian leadership, and that is an aggressive style of leadership, all right? So that is autocratic leadership. Now, when it comes to democratic leadership, those are the best kinds of leadership, but it depends, right? Now, okay, let me just circle back to autocratic leadership. Autocratic leadership is useful in emergency cases. For example, imagine you are in an emergency department and you are the charge nurse of a code, right? Now, if you want to give orders, prepare dopamine, give adrenaline, give atropine, give adenosine, DC shock, whatever the case might be. Now you need to be autocratic. You need to use autocratic leadership because you want to give orders and you want them to take orders right away, right? It's military. That's how you pronounce it. So definitely you're going to use this type of leadership because you are the person in charge and you want people to execute orders on the spot, right? Now, of course, if you're saying something dumb in a code, of course, other RNs have to step up and tell you, hey, this is dumb, we should do this and that, right? But generally speaking, ACLS leaders, or if you're ACLS certified, then you know what you're doing, all right? So that type of leadership is used only in emergency cases. Now, in this type of leadership, democratic leadership, which is the best leadership, not all cases, but I would say 80% of cases. Now, democratic leadership is when you share with your team members. So you sit down in a conference room and you talk about different topics that's happening on the unit, and the decision is made collectively, right? And the main thing, when you're taking a decision as a democratic leader, you're thinking about human dignity, you're thinking about human rights, you're thinking about staff rights, you're thinking about teamwork. This type of leadership is participative leadership, all right? Now, the laissez-faire leadership is, when I said the democratic leadership is like 80% of the time is cool. Now, laissez-faire is like 20% of the time is cool, right? Why is it not right? It's 20% of the time cool, right? Now, a laissez-faire leader is someone who's relaxed, who's going to sit, in a conference room, put their legs on the table, and let everyone talk, and let everyone make decision. And if that person say, oh, I think we should do this, you're right. I think you should do this. You're right. I think you should do that. You're right. Let's do all of that, right? So that's a laissez-faire leadership. Is a person who just wants everyone to be pleased, wants everyone to be happy. Well, no, you can't use that type of leadership in a in a hospital, or in a department. Or if you are a type of leader in any nursing department, you can't use that type of leadership. All right. So the last type of leadership is transformational leadership. All right. Transformational leadership, which everyone inside of us should have that leadership, but on let's say on a institutional level. The nurse, or the CNO, what do you call CNO? Chief Nursing Officer. So the Chief Nursing Officer should give that type of transformational leadership where they're selling everyone on the vision. This is what we're going to do to the community. This is what we're going to do to our patients. So they're talking like a huge vision, and they're driving positivity, and they're driving engagement, commitment, they're driving excellence, all right? Now, not only the CNO, which is the Chief Nursing Officer, is going to do that, a nurse supervisor is going to use the same transformational leadership with nurse managers, right? Because the nurse supervisor manages nurse managers, right? Now the nurse manager is going to use the same transformational leadership with their charge nurses, right? Now the charge nurses will also use the same transformational leadership with the RNs and LPNs on the unit, right? So every person, every tier of leadership or chain of command, the nurse can do transformational leadership where they're talking about division. All right, today, for example, if I'm a charge nurse, all right, today we're gonna crush it. All our patients are gonna be happy. We're gonna execute procedures on time. We're not gonna have delays. We're gonna get admissions from the ER and the admitting office amazingly. We're gonna coordinate everything. We're gonna work as a team, right? So they're selling positivity, commitment, vision for how the day is gonna be going, right? So, of course, transformational leadership is very important in terms of like motivation. Let's get going, get everyone on the same page, all right? Now, I'm gonna talk briefly about the job description, all right? I still have some space here. So job description or job role of nurse supervisor. So what does the nurse supervisor do, right? So you've got the CNO, right? CNO, we're not gonna talk about it. But you've got chief nursing officer, and then you've got nurse supervisor. What does the nurse supervisor do? Right? They come to the hospital and they overlook admissions to the hospital. Like, how many admissions are we getting? How many discharges are we getting? What's the situation in the ER? What's the patient flow in the hospital? Like, are there any problems? So they're thinking hospital-wide. They organize meetings for nurse managers. They organize meetings for whatever, if there are third parties coming to pitch products or whatever the case might be. So the nurse supervisor, listen, so you got to pay attention. There's day shifts and night shifts. Now, we're only talking about day shifts. So the nurse supervisor during the day shift, that's the job description that she or he does, right? Coordinating things hospital-wide, all right? Now, the nurse manager is someone who does, for example, staffing, budgeting. They do, how do you say? They do, like, for example, like vacations, not vacations, but vacations, or they do, for example, like, did I say staffing? Like understaffing, overstaffing, sending people home, keeping people on the unit, maybe calling the on-call, stuff like that. Also, the nurse, the charge nurse does a little bit of that, but that's the job description of the nurse manager. Of course, meeting, budgeting, coordinating different things on the unit. So that's the job of the nurse manager. Now, lastly, we are left with the charge nurse, all right? So charge nurse, what's her job description on the unit? Of course, admission and discharges. Of course, patient assignments in terms of like procedures, coordinating with the radiology department, even though the RN does a little bit of that, but that's the job description of the charge nurse. They also do admissions, discharges, did I say that? Patient assignment, nurse assignment, like assigning nurses to different patients. They also do walking rounds with the physicians, which is very important. So they do the walking rounds. Of course, the nurse who is responsible for that patient will be in the walking round, but the charge nurse goes all over the unit, right? So those are some of the job descriptions of the charge nurse. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please share it with your friends. I want to give you one more ebook. I want to offer you this 300 Spartan medication e-booklet. You know, when our students go to the test center after they get out, they text us the topics that they got on the real test. They also text us the drugs or medication calculation questions that they got on the real NCLEX. What do we do over the past 12 months? We've been collecting those drugs, and me and my colleague, Professor Aileen Burke. If you Google Professor Aileen Burke, she's nationwide known NCLEX copywriter. And she's amazing. Dude, her work is amazing. She's a member of our team, right? So we did the work and we did the research for 300 drugs, and we put them in one ebook where, of course, they are as per families and categories. But every drug has an indication, side effects, and patient teaching, which is all you need to know about drugs for your NCLEX. So if you want this ebook, I'm offering it in the description down below. So just click on it and download it. I love your face. I can't wait to see you on the next video. Please make sure that you like, comment, and share this video with your friends on your Facebook page or on your Instagram stories. Tag me at Alpha Slice. Also tag me at NCLEX QBank. I love you. My name is Mo, and see you on the next See you on the next video.
My name is Ezekiel. I've taken the NCLEX twice and failed until I found more on the internet. He emailed me and asked me to attend the webinar, which I did. I signed up before the end of the webinar because I liked the way he started it, and I liked the way he was emphatic and direct and putting out all the points that you need to know. So I signed up and I continue to work on it. What I like most is when he says, he told a story and he said that it's not that he didn't tell us that it's going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. And that's true. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to go through the whole episodes and take all the notes that accompanying it. I did all that. I almost fell behind in the middle. Around episode 28, I almost quit. But I persevered because of his own perseverance, his own way of counseling you, his own way of putting it into your head, and then you hear his voice even when you're sleeping. When I try to sleep, I hear Mo's voice telling me to go on, go on, go on. I went on until I completed it, and then I became almost afraid to attempt the exam. I lacked for 1 week, and then another week, and then my wife forced me. It's like, go and take this thing. It's about time you take this. So I also give thanks to my wife for persevering, for putting it hard onto me. And then I went on and I went ahead and took it. And when I took it, I had some unusual thing happened, because after about 60 minutes, he gave me a first break, and then another, no, that's not 60 minutes. After about 3-4 hours, at number 60, question number 60, he gave me a first break. And after that break, when I got to 75, 76, he gave me another break. And then I answered 2 more questions, and then it cut me off. So I had 2 breaks, which I thought was unusual from the first 2 I had. And after which, hey, I just went home. All I never saw any question that is exact question, but I knew that I followed mostly most algorithm, which followed all the algorithm as the ways to answer the questions using ABG, nurse diagnosis assessment, and SATA questions. I follow them and find out which one is false, which one is true. You're able to define when you are to answer true or false. I followed it to the letter, and then I went home. After the first day, second day, I was scared. I didn't want to open it. But on the third day, I just said, well, damn it. It can be anything. And then I went on and I opened it. I was surprised. I saw pass. I passed. And so I passed NCLEX. I'm PN now. I made it. I give it all to Mo and God, and Mo and God, because Mo also said, pray. Take a breather, take 10 breaths, and then you pray. Yes, I prayed. Each time I took the break, I took the breather, I prayed, and I did everything that he said to do. So please listen to Mo. If you are a dedicated individual and you want to pass your NCLEX, do what Mo says and follow his steps, and you will make it. I made it. Man, I'm 62 years old. It's not that I wasn't like dull when I was younger, but at 62, I tell you, my retention level is a little bit lagging, and I tend to be a little bit forgetful sometimes, and so hey, all that is past now. I'm in loss now. Thanks to mom.